Today we will discuss on how to have a successful negotiation. The key behind reaching an optimal agreement is preparation. And what kind of preparation? You must know the issue, you must know yourself, and you must know the other party. Remember, negotiation is knowing your needs and wants and also knowing their needs and wants. And preparation includes not only knowing your needs and limits, but also understanding what the other party wants and anticipating their limits. You should be also able to ask the right questions and be creative in your proposed solutions. If you prepare well, you can strategize and you can think on your feet in the negotiation room. In the negotiation room, decisions have to be taken then and there. So if you do your homework well, if you prepare thoroughly, you will be quickly able to assess the pros and cons associated with the decision and make your offer. By considering interest, options, legitimacy, alternatives, communication, relationship, and commitment, you can enter the negotiating room fully prepared and fully informed. Number 1, interest. Consider both your interest as well as the other party's interest. Remember, interests are not positions. They are the reasons behind a position. It is your interest that is bringing you to the negotiation table. Your interest in reaching an agreement may be readily apparent to you. However, the other party's interest may not. So it is not enough to know only your story. It is also important to know their story. So try to put yourself in their shoes. Ask yourself, why did they agree to sit down at the table with you? What will they get out of this agreement? And if you can do this much, you will be able to find out common areas. So after you devise a list of interest, circle the common interest. You will highlight these shared interests at the negotiation. Starting off a negotiation on the same page creates a foundation for agreement down the road. It also creates a sense of mutual understanding at the table and opens lines of communication. A good agreement fulfills the interest, not the positions. So the more research you do about the other party as well as yourself will help you to start off on a common wavelength. Number two, brainstorm. Brainstorm options for the agreement. Not every agreement involves just a black and white agreement on a monetary amount. You must think in terms of value propositions also. What options create value for both the parties? For example, if you are negotiating an employment contract with a new employee, think outside the salary. Maybe the salary is a little low, but if you give other benefits as healthcare, paid time off, or you offer to do 2 professional trainings a year, or some memberships and telecommuting and all that, then that adds value. All right. So options create value and help fulfill even more shared interest. Third is legitimacy. Consider how you can add legitimacy to these options. So which means that you must have your facts and figures right. What objective criteria or standards create a sense of fairness in the transaction? Your negotiation cannot be arbitrary. And only when you have objective criteria or standards, it removes that sense of arbitrariness from the negotiation. For example, if you're negotiating on a real estate purchase, You can use the property appraisals or maybe recent sales as objective criteria. Number 4, alternatives. What alternatives do you have if you do not reach an agreement? What alternatives might the other party have? So you must have your BATNA. BATNA is best alternative to a negotiated agreement. We will do more about this BATNA in our next video. So BATNA is plan B. If you have a great BATNA, you can walk away from the negotiation if your interest is not being met or if things become hostile. This puts the value the agreement creates in perspective. But never forget that the other side might have competitive offers also. So although you have a plan B, do not straight away walk away from the negotiation table. Give the other party a chance. Maybe they will give you better offers. But if nothing works out, then you go for your plan B. Number 5 is communication. Focus on keeping lines of communication open. Ask about the other side's alternatives. Ask about their interests. And before going into the negotiation room, write out a list of questions that you need to ask. This is the preparation that we are talking of. You should be able to anticipate what is it that they are looking out for, what are the concessions they want from your side, and also make a list of what are the things that you should ask. If you do not ask the right questions, you will not get the right answers. Also strategize on the most effective way of framing your interest and how to communicate shared interests to the other party. Remember, we talked of expanding the pie. You can do that only when you take into consideration the interest of the other party. Number 6, relationship. Most of the time when we are negotiating, it is a case of negotiating with the supplier, or it is the management and employee negotiations, or negotiations with trade unions. And these are all people with whom we have a relationship. So assess your relationship with the other party. Where is it now? Where would you like it to be? Why is it like that? How can you improve it? That you are sitting for a negotiation tells you that things are not really very okay, kind of. Or maybe even if it is okay, there is some kind of, demands, some kind of conflicts which require give and take. Therefore, transparency, active listening, and empathy, they are great ways to improve negotiations and subsequently relationships. Number 7 is commitment. Consider the commitment at stake. When you are sitting for a negotiation and you come to an agreement, remember that this agreement has to be implemented and you are committed to that agreement. So ask yourself, what level of authority do you have? Can you execute a final agreement at the negotiating table, or do you need to have your board vote on a proposal? If you are there in the negotiating room and if you think you are the final authority who can take a decision, then it is easier for you to keep the commitment. But if you do not have that authority, and if you have to take the decision back to some higher up, and that higher up will decide yes or no, then it is difficult to give a commitment. Similarly, for the other party also, what level of authority might the other party have? And what steps do you or they need to take in order to get a final agreement? If you do not have the final authority, you will not take the final decision. Rather, you should bring in your superior or this authority who is going to be the final authority and get that person on board. All right, and then take a decision. Then it is easier to keep the commitment. So this is the way that you go about in a negotiation. Thank you very much.